In this video, we're going to look at group frequency tables. This video is going to contain an example of how to do a group frequency table, and I'm going to do it at a slow pace for you so you can see exactly step by step how to do it. So firstly, why is a group frequency table used? Well, it's used to measure the average frequency of a large set of data. So let's say you've got 1,000 schools in Hertfordshire, for example, and you've taken the ages of all the students in those schools. To do the mean of those, you'd have to add them all up. So that would be thousands and thousands of ages added all up, and it would take a long time to do that. So group frequency groups things into sets of data, such as age or any other values of numbers, and then basically does an estimated mean instead of adding them all up at once, because it would take quite a while to do that. Here's an example of a group frequency table taken out of a book. Now, sometimes group explanations can be, you can read it a few times and you might not get it, but basically that's an example of what it might look like in a book, and that's an example of it being done. Let me talk you through it step by step. So that table there is the same as I've got as the table here. So this is step one. First of all, you get given a question with a frequency table. You'll get something in the left-hand column. So as I said earlier, it might not be age. It could be number of dogs, like anything. But it will always be between two values. So in this case, it's between 14 and 18 and then 19 and 23, etc. The frequency is how many times that they were counted. So for example, you had 9 people between the ages of 14 and 18. That's what the table means. That's step one. Step two is your second two columns, the names of them. Some people might call it the modal, but I call it the middle because it makes things a lot simpler when you're learning it anyway. So what does the middle mean? The middle means the middle number between 14 and 18, between 19 and 23, between 23 and 28, etc. How would you do that? A lot of people would just jump in and write the middle down. Don't do that. What you must do is add the numbers together and divide by 2. So for example, we've got 14 and 18. So you add 14 and 18 together, gives you 32. Once you've got that, to get the middle of those two numbers, which you've added up to 32, you just half it every time. That will give you the middle of anything when you half it. So halving 32 gives me 16, and then I could put my 16 in there. Then you continue that with 19 plus 23 divided by 2, etc. This example contains a lot of numbers, but basically concentrate on the ones in green. That's the workings out, so, or that's the answer to the workings out. So we just did 14 plus 18 equals 32. 32 divided by 2 equals 16. Once you've done all those workings out, you'll have a table that looks like this. That means you've got the answers to the middle column. You've done that. Once you've done that, step 4, moving on to the F times M column. Now, if you notice, I've highlighted the letters F and M because they're the same letters as you get with the frequency and the middle, and it's literally telling you what to do. So F times M is the frequency times the middle. So in this case, it would be 9 times 16, for example. So F times M, just look down the bottom of the screen. 9 times 16 equals 144, and 144 would go there. Then you'd continue with 3 times 21. And those are the answers. So once you've done 3 times 21, you'd end up with 63, and you'd keep going. Once you've done all of that, then the chart that you've been given is almost complete. There's just another couple of things you need to do. Next step, step 5, is adding 2 columns. You have to add the frequency column and the F times M column. So that middle column, the column titled middle, You don't touch it. That's irrelevant. You do not use it anymore. So just to repeat, you add the frequency, which would be 9 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 5, and you'd add the f times m, which would be 144 plus 63 plus 52 plus 31 plus 180. And those are the answers once you've added them up. Final stage, stage 6. You've done the whole chart, you've added the frequency column, you've added the f times m column, you've got two numbers, one being 20, one being 470. You need to divide those two numbers. You always do it this way round. The largest number is always going to be the f times m column. It will always be the largest number. You take the largest number, which in this case is 470, and you divide it by the smaller number, which is 20. So basically, the total of the f times m column, which is 470, divided by 20. And that gives you your answer, which in this case is 23.5. And a way to check it is that it should be around the middle. So is 23.5 somewhere in the middle of between age 14, which was, and the age category at the start, and age 38? Is 23.5 somewhere in the middle of those? Pretty much. So I can take an educated guess that is approximately right. It is right. I've checked these sums, but just to give you an approximation of how you could check that it was right, look to see if it's in the middle of between the first number you're given and the last number you're given. If it had ended up, for instance, like 42 or 44, I know I would be way off because I'm looking for something between the ages of 14 and 38. So if I'd got something, really under or wasn't nearly in the middle, I'd be rechecking my calculations. And that's how you do group frequency.